Mum, la 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 la, mum bum bum, bum bum bum, bum bum bum, bum bum bum, ba-dum bum bum bum, bum bum bum, ba-da-da-dum bum bum, ba-dum ba-ba-dum, bum bum bum, bum bum bum, bum bum bum, bum bum, bum bum bum, ba-da-da-dum bum bum, ba-dum ba-da-dum. Ba da dun da da dun da dun dun. Da 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 dum ba da da dun da dun dun da da dun dun. Bum ba da dum ba da da dun da dun dun da da dun dun. Da 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 da. Hello, my friends. Hello from Central Wisconsin, says Shelly and Bernice and Battle Creek, Michigan. Oh, great. Coolian, I'm sure she will appear that appreciate the shirt. Something to do about a shirt. Hello, everyone. Junette from San Antonio, Texas. Hello from Plymouth, Wisconsin, says Carla and Junette and Francine. And I love to see where everyone's from. It's so much fun. From fun. Hello from Grand Rapids, Michigan. That's Pat. Wonderful. Those are all my mighties. And so let's talk to those on Facebook. You can all hear me, right? I'm assuming you can all hear me. Fredonia. Hello, Fredonia, New York, not far from me. Hi, Michelle from Chico. Does anyone else bum 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 along with Joette? Do you all sing that song with me? It's my brother's melody. My brother is a writer. Oh boy, I just lost my Facebook. Here we go. I think I should be able to get this up again. My brother is a very talented, very skilled um, musician and composer and lyricist. He's written for Whitney Houston. He's written movie scores. He's very talented, knows his stuff. And we just did something with him. In case you haven't seen it, we did it on our blog, and we're going to be featuring that more and more on the site. The little song that he came up with that I sing. It's really fun. Here we go. Now everyone's coming back. Okay. Yes, yes, yes. It is catchy. All righty, my friends. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Robin. Hi, Shelly. It's I know you're here, Harry. I think I saw you before we came live. Yep. It's wonderful to see everyone. Well, my friends, this is this is part 2 that we're going to be talking about today. And before I get into it, I want to give you a quote from Voltaire that I think is really apt, timely, brilliant. And he says, "Those who can make you believe absurdities can make you commit atrocities." So let's remember what is absurd and what is not. Um, and I also want to give you faith that homeopathy cures so many conditions. Sometimes it doesn't take it to complete cure. Sometimes it only takes it partially. Sometimes it only minimizes the suffering, backs it down a little bit. And I remember when I was first learning homeopathy and I had my repertory. Actually, it wasn't this one. This is Robin Murphy's. I had an earlier one than this, but it was thick like this, 4,000 pages, excuse me, 3,000 pages. And I remember being up at night because I wasn't feeling well. I had asthma attacks and sleeplessness and a lot of things going on that I no longer have. I've not had those things in decades. And I would be up at night and everyone would be asleep and I'd be pouring through this repertory and I would say to myself, the answer is someplace in here. And I have to tell you that by owning this book or any homeopathy book, it doesn't have to be a repertory, but any homeopathy book, and learning homeopathy takes us to a different understanding of life. It's something I feel sorry for those who don't have that and who don't have their faith. Those are my two girding anchors in my life. And for those who don't have family, those are really important aspects of experiencing your humanness, one's humanness. But I remember going through here and saying, I'm going to poke around here. I just want to tell you this. Let's look at this. This, I just happened to open up to feet. Okay. Inflammation. I'm on page 730. This is the third edition of Robin Murphy's repertory. I'm looking up feet, inflammation, nails, such as a felon. A felon is often an infection, usually bacterial infection, around the nail, fingernails, toenails. And if I had something like that, I don't have that, but if I had something like that, and I looked this up, it gives me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, about 120 remedies to consider right here. Okay, you can see all those. Those are not sentences. Those are lists of remedies, lists of homeopathic medicines that have been shown clinically to resolve this or to address inflammation of the toenail, or it has been shown that it not only resolves it clinically but also through approving. And I would look at that and I would say, oh my goodness, look at this. Ammonium carbonicum, anthracinum, apis, fluoric acid, nitric acid, acidum, tarantula. And I would look at that and it would have given me, it did for my own health, hope, because it told me, basically by reading these remedies, it tells me that it's been done, that this condition, whatever it might be, but in this particular case, happening just randomly to open up to this page, that it has been shown clinically and in provings that these medicines take care of inflammation around the toenails. You could do that with any section of this repertory. We can go to chest, sense of weakness in the chest. And interestingly, the main remedy for that, I just happened to open up to it, chest weak. Can be a weakness or fatigue that afflicts the chest. And I get that every once in a while. If I'm going to get a cold or a flu, that's generally good. It's not horrible. I can work through it. It's not a big deal, but it used to be very serious for me, or more serious, I should say. I don't know if I'd call it very serious. I never actually had pneumonia, but I've certainly had bronchitis. And antimonium tart, that's my medicine. It's one of my favorites for me. And so there it is. And it tells me which medicines have been considered most valuable. Stannum, says Leanne. Yes, stannum is another good one. Yep, and stannum is in this very good and underlined. So I've used both stannum and antimonium tart. I find them both good, but for me it's antimonium tart. Yes, phosphoric acid also helps weak chest. You're right, and so does phosphorus in general, not just phosphoric acid. Phosphorus is bold and underlined. Yep. And so, my friends, I want you not to be afraid. I want you not to believe absurdities. I want you to know that there's common sense in homeopathy. It's logical. It's got provenance. It's got a historical provenance. It's got scientific provenance. It's got what we need to believe in a specific kind of medicine. It's got people behind it, such as the doctors Banerjee, Dr. James Tyler Kent, Dr. Samuel Hahnemann, Dr. Burnett, James Compton Burnett, Dr. Dorothy Shepard. These were all great minds. Allen, Dr. Allen. I mean, I could keep going with this. There are so many. Boricki. I'm looking at my books now. These were the great medical minds of the last 2.5 centuries. And so it's interesting that in this country, in the US, people rarely know about homeopathy. In other countries, they know all about it. South America, many South American countries. Certainly England, Germany, France, Italy, Spain, Switzerland, and India, of course. But in this country, we have television that blasts us with pharmaceuticals. And I don't know if you know this, but only in this country and New Zealand is it allowed
are they allowed to advertise drugs, pharmaceuticals on television, in electronic media? So that means that we are surrounded by many, 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 many people who have been duped, and it makes it harder. But the winds are changing, my friends. The jig is up. I truly believe that. The jig is up. They're catching on. What I have known, what those of you who have been involved in homeopathy for many years have known from the first time you stepped into the arena of homeopathy, is what has been going on in that industry and the industry in government, and how it has been getting more intense and worse and worse and worse. And in a way, you know what? These last 2 years, 2.5 years, which is not done. I don't think we're done. And in the next year or two or whatever it takes, it's actually, I think, I'm actually feeling that it's a good thing because it's waking people up. It's waking people up to those of us who've been in alternative medicine for me, almost 35 years. We've all known this because we've read all the books on it. There are plenty of books. And, one of these days, I think I'm going to get those books and give you some of the titles. A lot of these books I read before I even learned homeopathy, before I knew anything about it. It was all about holistic health, trying to find answers to my own health problems and my father's. Okay. I went on for almost 12 minutes, and I'm sorry. I know we were planning on talking about back pain. And so I hope you have a pen and paper ready, or your fingers are nimble and you can get right to your keyboard, because I've got some good ones. This is not exclusive to, if these medicines don't act for back pain, don't say, oh, well, that's the end of that. Oh, nay, nay, say I. No, there are many medicines that we can use for back pain, but I'm choosing the ones that are the most commonly for the most common conditions, and those medicines that we've seen the greatest amount of improvement from. Now, as we know in the Banerjee's book, the Prasanta Banerjee, excuse me, the Banerjee protocol written by Prasanta and Prateep Banerjee, they tell us that the protocols that they use, which is what I teach, the protocols that they use correct or address, depending on where we are in the degree of the condition or the age of the condition, etc. 80 to 85% of most of the cases that use this medicine, whatever this medicine is, their first line of protocol. So I'm giving you I did not get what I'm going to read to you tonight. I have from my notes and what I've learned and memorized, mostly from having worked in the Banerjee clinic for those 8 years and what I observed. So let's start with this, shall we? Garden variety backache. Garden variety backache. Just, a regular, it doesn't, we don't know, it's not a slip disc, it's not ruptured. There's no particular necessarily a condition, such as I said last week, lumbago or something like that. It's just a backache that we don't have any specifics on. Now, the more specific we can get, of course, the better off we are. That's true for any of any condition that we're going to be using homeopathy for. Now, I don't mean specifics, meaning we have to know the cause. We don't necessarily need to know the etiology. We do want to know how it's presenting. So, for just a regular old backache, my favorite medicine, which is a Banerjee protocol, is Symphytum, Symphytum, Symphytum 200C. And I often mix it with, as they do as well, Rus Tox 30. Yes. Now, if the pain is pretty severe, instead of using it only, say, twice a day, which is what I would do if it's kind of low level, kind of chronic, but nothing really horrible, I'd use that twice a day. But if it was pretty severe, I might go every couple hours. And I would also add one of our best medicines for pain, especially nerve pain, or especially pain that is along the spine, and along the running nerves, and that is Hypericum 200. So I would use then for garden variety backache, Symphytum 200 mixed with Rus Tax 30. And also, not mixed with it, but in addition to that, I would add that in the schedule, I would add Hypericum 200. Now, how often would we use Hypericum 200? Well, Hypericum 200 is for severe pain. If the pain is very severe and we're using it, say, every hour or so, and it's starting to abate, then we're going to use it maybe every hour and a half or every 2 hours. If the pain is nearly gone and the person is able to get back to their tasks, then we count out how many hours we've measured that have been nearly or fully pain-free. If it's been 5 hours, then the pain starts to return, what do? That's our indicator, my friends. That is our indicator that we need the medicine repeated again. So, remember, homeopathy is not not it's not herbs, it's not supplements, it's not vitamins. For those of you who have been around a long time, I know you know all of this. Oh, look at you all know that it's Hypericum. It's wonderful. It is a specific medicine. And as medicine, we use it as it's needed. Oftentimes we can measure it, not always. I mean, hypothyroidism, we're not going to use the medicine as it's needed. We're going to be, at least not on an acute level, we're going to be using it for a longer period of time until it's no longer needed, of course. But we use these medicines until they're not helping us any longer. There's no need for it. Or if we've chosen incorrectly, it's causing a little kind of rumblings, a couple little problems, then we know we need to stop. Okay. So Hypericum makes my son hyper. Weird, huh? No, not really. Read up on Hypericum. It's if the Hypericum is helping the pain, I'm going to respond to that question or that point. If there's a lot of pain in someone, let's say they've had surgery, dental surgery, and their tooth was pulled and oh my gosh, the pain, we're talking about an acute now, pain is horrible. Or pain in the back, they lifted something, and oh my gosh, the pain is horrible. And they use this Hypericum, and the pain is starting to reduce and things are moving along, and the person gets hyper, I would carry on with its use anyway. We have to always weigh out if the medicine is acting in a positive way and there's a little detriment, weigh it out. Now, if instead the pain in this little boy is not being aided, and yet, or it's only slightly helping a little bit, and yet he's very hyperactive from it, and it's over the top, choose a different medicine. So we're always balancing. How far should we go with this? Yes. Yeah, CB, Hypericum work on the central nervous system. I can see that. Yeah, that's true. It does. Hypericum is all about the central nervous system. It is made from St. John's wort, my friends. And so, yes, it can make someone nervous. But if they're getting benefit from it, it's no matter. All righty. So that is the garden variety one. Now let's talk about lumbar pain. We talked about this last week, but lumbar pain down the legs. So it's lumbar pain in the back, in the L section, and it also is related to down the legs. What are we going to use? I would use Symphytum again. Symphytum, Symphytum 200C twice a day. When else might we use Symphytum? After weightlifting. I have sons who do a lot of weightlifting. And they, after they've weightlifted too much, I often tell them Symphytum 200 mixed with Rus Tax 30 every 3 hours. That's how I tell them to use it. If the pain is extraordinary, although they've never had it quite extraordinary, then I would add Hypericum. Now I'm going to throw a curveball. I'm going to give you a remedy that you may not, for those of you who are not fully engaged in pain issues and using homeopathy, I'm going to teach you about another one that is muscular aches and pains. And most people think of arnica, and they're right. I love arnica for muscular aches and pains. And I would use arnica in a 200. But the curveball I'm going to throw you is one that you may not have considered, and that is Cimicifuga. Cimi, C-I-M-I, Cimi or Cimi, Cifuga, C-I-F-U-G-A, one word, Cimicifuga, 30. I would use that for those kinds of pains. Now, I love Cimicifuga for not only the pains of muscles and aches in the back, but anybody else have any other reason we might use Cimicifuga for any other condition? Let's see what everyone comes up with. Yeah, Leanne is saying she likes stenosis. Excuse me, she likes tarantula for stenosis. Yeah. Yeah, but I also like Symphytum 200 for stenosis. Cimicifuga for pain in the thighs, back, and pelvis. Absolutely. You're right. Oh yeah, Rebecca says she uses Cimicifuga for hot flashes. It's a great remedy for menopause. Excellent. Great for menstrual pains. Absolutely. For cramps. You bet. Labor and delivery. Thank you very much. Very good. Menstrual cramps. Callie, this is what I was thinking of. Angina. Cimicifuga for angina. Is that not fascinating? I've told a story about my father who used to have angina. Went from occasional to oh my gosh, this is every day. And it is what turned my father around to the point where he not only fell in love with homeopathy, I'd been using it on him for years, and he, at first he disregarded it, then he accepted it. Well, I have nothing to lose, and then he said, "No, I think this is helping me," and here and there for other conditions, and then finally, when I gave him Cimicifuga 30, I've written about this on my blog, and I think I may have written about it elsewhere too. So if you just Joette Calabrese angina or Joette Calabrese-Cimicifuga, you'll find my information on it. And this is what turned his head around to the point where he became the neighborhood homeopath of sorts. He was treating neighbors, he was treating friends. My father was a musician. He was treating his musician friends. He was treating my mother, and he was using my blog to do it. Or sometimes when he was stumped, he would just, he'd call me. So, Cimicifuga. It's for aches and pains, and that's kind of what angina is. Angina is generally not shooting pain. It can be, but generally when it's kind of that chronic, and it is muscular of sorts. The heart is considered a muscle. In some circles, they say that. Some disagree and say it's not. Um, but at any rate, it is. It's a great remedy for muscular pain, and so and those and organs that are affected by the muscles, such as the uterus, for menstrual cramps. Yes, Harry, both of those are good let's see what we've got here. How about agaricus and aeschylus for low back? Yeah, I like that. Now, I will tell you, I like aeschylus, especially for the hip or hips. It's wonderful. Oh, yeah, Leanne says the same. She's right. So, aeschylus is a great hip pain remedy. It also incorporates the back. You're absolutely right, Harry. But I always think of it first for hips. Let's see what we've got here on Facebook. What kind of questions we've got coming up? Because I'm spending a lot of time, wonderful time with my mighties. And let's see if we've got some other questions coming up. All righty. So, angina referring to the heart, not to be confused with indigestion or heartburn. No, we're talking about heart pain. Angina. I know a lady whose heart starts racing at night, and she has had to go to emergency room. They don't really do anything, but it calms down. I wonder if this would help her. You know what I always tell people too when it comes to angina or anything that comes kind of consistently, I would look at what she's taking. A lot of conditions, my friends, arise from what's extrinsic, what has been given to the person, what the person takes daily. Another drug, could the drug that she's taking for blood pressure cause angina? Could the drug she's taking for dry eyes cause angina? Got to look it up. How do we know? We got to look it up. Could these supplements, yes, my friends, supplements that the person is taking be causing angina? Could the dyes in the marshmallows that they're roasting on the back deck with their neighbors be causing angina? Could it be coffee? Could it be something extrinsic? Now, the first most suspicious extrinsic substance, in my estimation, is always drugs. Always. Because there's no such thing. I've never met a drug that doesn't have a side effect. No such thing. Doesn't exist. Doesn't exist. Just because you don't notice it doesn't mean there's not a side effect. Or just because you haven't had one for this first year of taking doesn't mean by the third year you're not going to have it. So drugs have side effects. They must have side effects. Whereas homeopathy has no side effects. But we could get into that for hours. Could it be a Zamboni? I got my Zamboni. Yeah, my little guy, my Zamboni driver, Mr. Zamboni, fell out and I lost him. I found him on the floor shortly after. Yep. So, this, what I said to you earlier, garden variety backache, could it be from a Zamboni injury? Yes, it could be. Could it be from, and I said this last week too, dehydration? Watch that dehydration, my friends. It's very easy to do, especially in warm months. Very easy. And we're not drinking coffee or tea to quench our thirst. We need to be drinking water, plain, ordinary water. Same thing with weightlifting. Very important that people drink a good amount of water when they perspire or when they're about to perspire or when there's something muscular going on. Okay, so now we've got lumbar pain down the legs, symphytum 200, right? Backache, garden variety, symphytum 200 plus rhus tox 30, and also hypericum if it needs to be used in a 200. Back pain let's see, where did I go here? Hold on. Backache, garden variety, lumbar pain, after weightlifting, and muscular. And the muscular pain is Simicifuga 30. I hope I haven't confused you because I went back down halfway and came back up again, my list. There's more. And so, my friends, I will be following up next week with more on back pain. And then I think the following week, unless there's something big in the news, I think we're going to go to tinnitus because it's super common. And I know a lot of people suffer terribly from it. Sciatica when pregnant, is that also symphytum and rhus tox? What do you think, Michelle? What do you think? Sciatica pain when the person is 20. What's the remedy? Sciatica pain for when the person is 90. What's the remedy? Sciatica pain for when the person is pregnant. What's the remedy? Sciatica pain for when the person is after they've just gotten off a horse. We're not separating them. We are saying sciatica pain. There's no asterisk that says except in these circumstances. And once you think this way and you see it this way, it's going to make a lot more sense to you. Don't parse it out and say, oh, well, it's got to be different in my situation because I'm pregnant. Or it's got to be different for me because I'm 90. No, sciatica pain means this medicine. Garden variety back pain means this medicine. I'm not going to guarantee it's going to work in every case, but this is where we start. There we go. You guys are wonderful. You're all helping each other, and I love that. I love it. Stick together, my friends. I think the road is still rocky, but I think we're going to win. I really do. I think that I know a lot of people feel that they need to go to the FDA and meet with them and convince them that homeopathy is great. How do you convince an organization that's bought by an industry that you're fighting? I think those days are gone. I'm going to be honest with you. I think those days are gone. I think the days when you go to the 3-letter organization and hope to be able to persuade people because they just happen not to know, they know. They know. I know the names of those people who have been working at the FDA for years. It's the same people that we've seen for 30 years, 40, 50 years. Musical chairs, and they bring in their younger version of themselves, and it starts all over again. I'm sorry, my friends, the FDA is bought. The EPA is bought. And so that means we have to take a different tact. And what would that be? That is, we are going to create so many homeopathic soldiers on this earth, especially in the US. We are going to make so many households filled with this medicine. We are going to teach so many people how to do this, mothers and grandmothers and fathers and aunts and uncles and everybody, and priests and rabbis. We are going to teach so many people, and that is my mission. Hundreds of thousands, if not millions. That is the way we're going to win this. Because if they ever come down and really, really come down, it'll be too late, because the whole country or world, I would even love it better if it was the whole world, but let's talk about our country at this point. The whole country will have already flipped and they will not even have noticed it. I think there's a lot of that, thinking that they know better and we know nothing, but I can teach anyone how to use this stuff. And so can you. You can teach this too, my friends. Start a gateway group. Start one of our study groups. Don't think you can't do that, because you can. We give you all the tools from which to do that. And so when you do, you will learn so much more by helping others, by teaching others. People will ask you questions and you'll have to look it up or find it in someplace on my blog, or you'll have to come up with the answers, and you will learn and learn and learn and learn and learn. And if and when something happens with our government or any government, it's too late. We've got our medicines and we know how to use them. That's the way we're going to beat this. That's the only way. I used to think we were supposed to go to the FDA. I used to believe that years ago. I was an anti-pesticide activist for years. I fought the EPA for years. No, it has to come from the ground up. It's got to be a populist movement. It's got to be arm in arm across the earth, helping each other. And so with that, my friends, I say, I love you all. I really do. I really look forward to this. Thanks, friends, for listening. God bless you all. Bye, and see you next week. More back remedies. Bye.